we recognize it and we act. And I want to start off by saying thank you, because the most important thing we need to do is do exactly what people in this room have been doing for years, which is to come together, stay together, and develop a plan. Now, as you heard from the chief, we have this is absolutely an unacceptable level of violence that we have. It is in marked contrast to what has happened over a 3-year period in which this group and our police drove crime down to historically low levels. That was tremendous progress. That's exactly why we are acting tough and acting strong right now. And as the chief laid out, there are really 5 key components of what we're doing here. The first thing is we have to understand what the issue is. Use all of our intelligence, both our technology and just the smarts and the contacts of the police and everybody else around, to understand what is the problem and focus in on it. So as we do that, as you heard the chief say, it's different than it was a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago when we did that, we analyzed it, we looked at it, we recognized we had to focus on very young offenders who were moving in the wrong direction way too early. That launched our youth violence prevention blueprint. That was a key part of what drove crime down. This is different. This is a small number of people who are very violent, and they're a little bit older than that. So we're going to focus like a laser on that. So number 1 is to be smart and focused about where we're going. The second part is that we're going to target aggressively on those violent offenders. As the chief said, last Thursday was a good example of that. As we took that focus, as every arm of the police department focused in on who we expected would be behind violence, and as they made arrests, they did get one person who would have been on our top list of people. That focus will continue, and anybody who is involved in violent crime anywhere in this city should feel the heat on the back of their neck, because the police know who they are and they are focused on them, and we're working with our criminal justice partners, and we will not let up on this. This is exactly where we're going to be focused, and anybody who thinks that they can get away with that in Minneapolis is wrong. We need all of your help in doing that, however. The third place that we're going to go is we are always focused on guns. We are really focused on guns right now. There are way too many guns on the street. There are lots of factors to that. But the bottom line is our police are going to stay focused on that. But they've also engaged their criminal justice partners. You'll hear from the county attorney, our city attorney, Susan Siegel, is meeting with the U.S. attorney. We are all going to be focused like a laser on the idea that we're going to do as much as we can to get the guns off the street. Now, one of the questions I always ask in the wake of any crime is, where did the gun come from? And you ask that question, and you get some rotten answers. Over these past few years, one of the biggest places where the guns have come from have been robberies of gun shops, where one by one you'll see these guns come onto the streets of Minneapolis. We believe that the level of this is intolerable, and we're going to continue to focus that, so you'll hear a lot more from us about that issue of guns. Now, the fourth point is going to be juvenile crime. As I mentioned, juvenile crime is not the core of the issue as we analyze this right now, but we are going to keep our focus on that. We never took it off, and that's why we continue all the work with the Youth Violence Prevention Initiative. We will continue that work because we don't want to see us focus in this area and lurch in the wrong direction and take our eye off the ball on that. The fifth and final point is youth. And it's the fact that we have been successful, and when we've been most successful, it's been because of engagement with the community here. And I look around the room at all the different things that everybody does in this room. We need you now, more than ever, to be deeply engaged in our police and our community. So keep at these efforts and stick at it. We are frustrated, we are angry, but we are acting. And we get it. And I want you to know that not only do I do that, but Council President Johnson, Councilmember Samuels, who leads the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Hofstad, this is the number one thing we are doing. When we meet with in City Hall, this is the focus that we have. And we should be so proud as a community on what we've accomplished over these last few years together and making it safer. And we also should be even more resolved than ever to be focused on that right now. So I want you to know I'm going to stay on that. And the chief and I have been talking probably much more than he wants to over the last year. But we are deeply engaged in this, and I want to thank you all for your work and tell you we'll stay focused on this.